Welcome to Fantasy Fanline.
What is up, everybody? Welcome to Fantasy Fanline. It is one of the biggest draft weekends of the year. Unfortunately, Greg is relaxing on a tropical island right now, so we'll cut him some slack for this one. I know he'd love to be here, but he'd also love to be on an island with a pina colada, chilling. And that's okay. I'm stepping in. Today we're supposed to have Spencer the Guru. He's running a little late, but that's okay. He said he would join up in a little bit. But I have another special guest. We go way back now. He's just as passionate about fantasy football as I am. He goes by the name of George Cruz. And it's great to have you, George. Oh, ding. Mute that.
Thanks for having me, man. Thank you.
I already know how dedicated you are to fantasy, but why don't you introduce yourself a little bit? Tell the people how many leagues you're playing, how many different kinds of leagues you're playing. It's like the show Baggage, man. There's any girls watching this, they might get concerned, but it's okay.
Relax. I've been doing fantasy for probably about 11 years now. You can call me new to the game still. Currently, I do about 5 to 6 redrafts right now, and then I got 20 dynasty leagues ranging from single QB, super flex. I've just got into some Devy leagues, some C2C, which is campus to the league, campus to Canton. There it is, C2C. So and I just started doing IDP too, so I'm trying to get my full scope of football going.
Yeah, I know you're about this life. You're not necessarily creating content, but I feel more confident having you up than a lot of other people, man. Because I know you do this. You sniped we had a draft yesterday. You took 5 of my guys. It's all right. I'll forgive you. It's one of the biggest draft weekends of the year, man. This weekend and next weekend, and we're around the corner from football season. And
I can taste it. College football's already starting, so
yeah.
It's the season.
And we were supposed to have Spencer on. He said he's going to join up. We don't know. But either way, the show must go on, man. The show must go on. Fantasy champion. We do a few leagues together. Don't let them flex too much. We're trying to help you win your leagues and dominate your drafts. Phone lines are down today. But if you're watching, hold on.
Spencer?
Before I even get into it, we got to welcome back Spencer the Guru, baby. Guru Nation.
Yo. What's good, fellas? Guru Nation in the house. Can't wait to get this thing going. What's happening?
We had some technical difficulties while you were still in your draft, so no worries on your end. The show must go on.
Yeah, I'm actually still in that bitch. I got it on the phone now. I got some. It took a step away, but I'm actually on the clock. So y'all go ahead and finish the intro because I got to make this pick right quick.
Spencer's locked in the zone. Spencer's locked in the zone. He was on for an episode with us right after the draft. You can find him on Twitter, Instagram. He's one of the best in the biz. We're in a couple of leagues together. We're sharp, man. We don't join leagues where people slack.
Yeah,
Everyone's on their shit.
No scrubs.
Exactly.
Sharp leagues.
And while we're here, it's draft weekend. As I said, the phone lines are down, but feel free. You could type in on anywhere you're watching this: YouTube, Twitch, Twitter, Facebook. We'll put your question on the screen. We'll answer it the best we can. Get you ready for your drafts. We do have some mailbag questions, and Spencer, it's okay. You're doing a draft while you're doing this, so you can take your time. But first mailbag question we have from Mitchell in New York: how are you valuing DJ Moore with Baker Mayfield at quarterback? I will pass this to George for the first question.
Yeah, for me, I don't really see what this changes. This is status quo for DJ Moore. We're talking about a guy, Baker. He's never been a QB1 in the league, just like DJ Moore's been dealing with. He's had troubles getting touchdowns. Baker's not a touchdown thrower. Baker's not a big yardage guy, but he will target one guy. Even his best wide receiver years for the guys he's had over the years, Landry and OBJ, topped out at 6 touchdowns for Landry, his best year. I don't see DJ Moore really surpassing that. Granted, better talent for sure, but nothing really changes. They gave up a 5th-round pick for Baker. I don't think that they are too sold on him. I don't think they have high expectations this season. What do you guys think?
I see where you're coming from, but to me, I disagree. I think it's a boost for sure. I mean, through 3 seasons, DJ Moore had 129 uncatchable targets. 129 uncatchable targets, man. We know the guy's extremely talented. He was always put in horrible situations. I'm not saying, Baker Mayfield's his savior. He had 1,100 yards and 4 touchdowns last year. He never passed more than 4 TDs in a season. I think he had 4 TDs 3 straight seasons. Last year was a dumpster fire with Darnold. Then CMC went down and oh man, it was rough.
There goes the offense.
Didn't do anyone favors. I'm not saying they're going to be good, but it's hard for me to believe they're going to be that bad again. You look at Sam Darnold's career touchdown rate; it's 2%. Baker's is 5%. You could do the math there. I'd bet my hard-earned money he crushes 4 touchdowns, and I'll hot take it. I think he doubles. I think he get to 8 scores this year.
8?
8 scores for DJ Moore. We know he's elite. 129 uncatchable targets. I hope Baker has a chip on his shoulder after the Browns, throwing him to the wolves. They don't believe in him, but he has a chip in his shoulder. Darnold just got hurt yesterday. He got carted off, so there's and Matt Corral. There's no competition there. That's Baker's team, man. And I think he's too talented. I think he's going to double that career high in touchdowns, and I think he's definitely worth a shot as ADP.
Yeah, I feel like his ADP is about fair. I think he's usually about a 4th rounder, and that's about fair to me because I feel like he offers a stable enough floor to be worth that. The reason I usually curve him, though, is because I don't see the Baker addition making his upside go up a whole lot. I know he's a slight upgrade over Sam Darnold, but I just don't really believe in Baker to the point to where I don't see DJ Moore really taking that next step. Because, we saw it in Cleveland. He had OBJ, Jarvis Landry, and he just couldn't get it done with them boys. They weren't awful, but they weren't. Last year Odell was awful. So, it's just one of those situations where it's CMC's team as far as the offense is going to run through him. I don't see this all of a sudden becoming an air raid attack. So I personally don't see DJ's value changing all that much. It's going to be a lot of the same where he racks up garbage time but fails to get many touchdowns and ends up probably still going to end up with a lot of those, as you said, saunchy, uncatchable targets.
Oh, man. 129 is rough.
But, OBJ
I believe in the talent.
Showed some videos of Baker missing him in similar fashion, so.
That's what I'm saying. I don't see this Baker thing going. There's a reason Baker was still available in June or whatever. If he was really that good, teams would have busted the Browns' door down for him.
Yeah, 5th-round pick conditional.
It's just hard for me not to root for DJ Moore because we know how damn good he is, and he's just been in some bad situations, man. So I'm hoping he could at least surpass that 4 touchdown mark because he's so much better than that.
Yeah, it's possible. If he does it, he's he's a bargain at that point. But it's just hard for me to go all in. Considering
he's riskier. I like getting wide receivers with good quarterbacks.
Yeah,
facts. I feel a little icky taking wide receivers with Baker Mayfields or
I was actually just
Mac
looking at
Jones.
this. I was looking at this before we got on. The Panthers were 29th most passing yards in the league, and Cleveland was 26th. So I don't see much room for growth there either. Coming to your point of a top offense.
Time will tell. For sure. If CMC stays healthy, that helps DJ Moore a lot. And I I guess time will tell with Baker Mayfield behind center. And this isn't a mailbag question, but I have to bring it up. Dameon Pierce is the surefire 1.1 now, right, boys? Like you're taking him over JT, like all that
Oh
hype.
yeah, Damien in the move, man. Texans going to the Super Bowl. Let's fucking go,
Right.
Damien. Oh man.
Every time
realistically,
every draft, he's higher and higher.
Oh, it's insane, man. Yeah, he goes just like it's to the point I don't even get him anymore. I used to every now and then, yeah, he's a pretty good value there, kind of in the mid to late rounds. Right now, he goes in the early to mid rounds. I'm like, nah, fuck that. The Texans are literally the worst running team last year. I'm not saying Pierce is gonna continue that trend. I think he'll run for about 800-900 yards. But everyone that's thinking he's gonna run for over 1,000 and win Offensive Rookie of the Year, back the truck up a little bit. Come on now.
Yeah, so if you were drafting today. If you were drafting today, where would you feel comfortable taking them? I think the 7th, 8th round for me would be my range.
Yeah, that's a sweet spot.
You're not going to get them there with all the.
Well, yeah, that's why I never get him because I feel like if I try not to reach for players. You know, I let players come to me. Like for example, in the draft just now, Chris Olave just fell to me. It's a 10-team league, but still, he fell. It was the 12th round, and he fell to me. I mean, it's just you just gotta. Granted, not everyone in this league's a professional, but it's just like it just goes to show, though, especially for those in home leagues. Like this is one of my home leagues, and it's for money, though. I mean, shout out to everybody in it. It's not just some scrub league, you know, but it's just like it just goes to show. I mean, you can get players at value, so don't reach for a Dameon Pierce where you can get a lot of times like a Ramondre Stevenson or a similar kind of back later on.
I'm high on Ramondre. I'm growing on Pierce though. He looks really good. For the 6th round, I'm not sure. Probably not. As I said,
yeah, I think 7th. I would say the 7th's perfect as an RB3. I just don't really trust him as an RB2, but as an RB3 flex, I like that. Because I do think he's going to see the majority of their touches. Because Marlon Mack, let's be real, Marlon Mack stinks. And then Rex Burkhead, I mean, he's all right in what he does, but he is not a lead back by any means. So Pierce is going to get the majority of the touches.
And yeah, they were resting him for the one game. And then the dress rehearsal, they brought him out. He looked dominant. I know it's preseason, it's the Texans, but, you know, if you like your guy, I'm not mad at you taking him in the 6th round. But for my advice through Fantasy Fanline, 7th, 8th round, I think it's money. I wouldn't want to go too much early.
Yeah, 7th round, I'd say 6th round or higher is a reach. 7th round's fair value. 8th round or later is great value.
That's a smash play in the 8th.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
Let's keep it moving with some more questions. We got a lot of drafts coming up this weekend and next. Are we sleeping on Deontay Johnson with a potential quarterback upgrade after a top 10 season? That's from Norman, New Jersey.
Yes, we are so sleeping on. Not me. I've got a lot of Deontay shares, but man, I notice he is getting very slept on. As well as Najee. All the Steelers are getting so slept on. Everyone's just assuming that this new quarterback's going to be a disaster, but I don't necessarily think so. I mean, this is a very well-coached football team. Big Ben was at the end of the road. I don't see whether it's Trubisky or Pickett. I don't see them being some big downgrade over Big Ben. If anything, they could be an upgrade because they'll be able to open up the field more, bigger arm. They'll be able to stretch the field some, and that could help Deontay. Yeah, he might not catch quite as many of the dump-offs from Ben, but he might be more efficient on a yards per catch basis to where his numbers shouldn't really be affected. So I think he's still in that WR1 conversation. And a lot of times we can get him as like a mid to low WR2. And in that case, give that to me all day because you're getting him at a value to where he, even if he doesn't meet expectations, he'll at the minimum return flex value, I feel. And if you're getting him that late in like the 5th, 6th round, it's like, fuck yeah, that's just a steal. Like he's one of the steals of the draft at this point because everyone's panicking about Pittsburgh.
I think so too, Spencer. Johnson broke out last year, and a lot of people think it's because Ben couldn't get the ball to anyone else because of the noodle arm, which was another reason why Najee was so valuable last year for all the check downs or whatever. And I don't think that's the case. I think the dude's damn good, man. He finished wide receiver 8 in PPR and 12 in standard. That's obviously
he cut down on the drops. So.
He had 107 catches, like 1,161 yards, and 8 scores. That's money. Even if those numbers dip a little bit, he's a very talented player. His ADP is 41.8, coming off a wide receiver 1 season. I wouldn't draft him expecting to be a 1 again, like locked in, but it's 100%
You're not having to
possible.
pay that price, so
Exactly.
yeah.
As I stated on an earlier episode, I think he's quarterback proof, man. I really think he's quarterback proof, and you get it done with anyone. I've seen him slip to the 5th round in some drafts, which is absurd to me, and that's a slam dunk in the 5th round.
Yeah.
Oh, for sure.
How you feeling, George?
Trubisky has hyper targeted his number 1 receiver. He did it with Allen Robinson, wide receiver 13, wide receiver 7, wide receiver 9. All good news for Allen Robinson, for Deontay Johnson. Even with Ben's noodle arm, they made it a point to target him. If your QB can't throw it, you have to draw up plays to get the ball in your best player's hands. Who was that? Deontay Johnson all season, Najee Harris all season. So I expect more of the same. Claypool, not it. I don't know. I think the Steelers hate him after what he did with the first down in that crucial moment, and then he didn't even take
calling himself a top 3 receiver.
Yeah, and then they even doubled down and made him draft Pickens in front of everyone.
Oh, that was hilarious. Yeah, he literally
that was the punishment.
Yeah,
that's rough, man. I don't know.
Yeah, he probably felt played after that.
We all think it's going to be Trubisky week 1, not Pickett.
Yeah, definitely Trubisky week 1. I think we'll see Pickett at some point, but the way the Steelers are a pretty conservative type team, I think they'll go with the veteran.
We got Joseph saying, "What's up,
Yo, Joey? What's good, bro?"
We got our boy here, Greg Scalera. Greetings from Jamaica, where the weather is almost as nice as Dameon Pierce's preseason.
Hell yeah! What's up, Greg? I'm jealous, man. Jamaica, bro. Hopefully one day I could go out there. That sounds fun as fuck.
Yeah, I'm not sleeping on Trubisky.
I mean, a year with fantasy Allen there. No, I don't know. We might see a new guy. Maybe.
As far as fantasy, I'm definitely not sleeping on him to spread the ball around and get the ball to his studs. So I'm not mad with Deontay. I'm not mad with Najee. I'm not in on Claypool too much because I was a little bit. I was heating up on him, but I like George Pickens. They drafted him for a reason. And I think he's going to – the Steelers just are 100% on their wide receivers, man. They draft the receiver, he's going to be pretty damn good. They have a great track record with that.
Yeah, I see Pickens kind of like when Juju was a rookie, being like a second-half darling. He's somebody, if you draft him, don't expect the world of him early on. Keep him
Don't
stashed.
Cut bait too early.
Keep him stashed, be patient, and then wait until, if you start to get some injuries, by then hopefully he'll be startable. Because I definitely think he's going to eventually outdo Claypool, but I think for the first half, Claypool being the familiar face over there, he's going to see most of those, the deep threat number 2 role. But I think as the year goes on, Claypool's a very inconsistent option. So I feel like eventually they're going to be like, let's go with Pickens, because I think Pickens is probably more well-rounded as a receiver.
I think he's really good. Jealous of whoever snagged him in dynasties.
Keep him on your
great dynasty stash. Yeah,
for redraft. Even if you don't draft him, keep him on your watch list. He might get
for those in 10-team or lower leagues. Yeah, I wouldn't even draft Pickens in those smaller leagues. But yeah, definitely keep him on your watch list so he can once he would break out, or make sure you can get him before the pack. Well, actually, I would say try to get him before that. Try to maybe if you start to see he has a game where he catches 4 for 80 or something, where you're kind of I would try to get him then before he goes for 5 for 120 and a touchdown, because then at that point the whole league's going to be on to him.
Another comment. Please take me to Taco Bell.
Oh, hell no, not right now. Maybe later, not right now.
Too early.
Yeah.
I need some beers in me before I binge Taco Bell.
Yeah, for real.
Anyway, let's keep it rolling. Hot draft weekend. Type your questions in the comments. We'll pull them on the screen. With a lot of leagues switching to Fab this year, or already have, do you spend up early on guys who start hot, or stretch your budget to last until the playoffs? From Jess in Arizona. What do you say, George? Pass it to you.
So for me personally, I come out hot with spending. I want these guys. I want my dollars to affect more of my season, and early game plans are often indicative of what the team's going to do. for the season. So I like to spend out, start early, save a few dollars for the playoffs, so that I can do some posturing, some blocking. Take a QB when my opponent needs a defense. I think that will scare me, but otherwise, I like to come out hot with my money, get it out of the way. Not out of the way, but and then once you spend, you just have to be in front of the waivers. Grab a guy before the injury happens. A handcuff or some stuff like that. So I don't know. I spend early. What do you guys say?
Oh yeah, it just
How do you feel,
depends.
Spencer?
Yeah, it just depends. I feel like there's somebody that you can see they're gonna have a clear path to a workload and should be able to sustain it. Then yeah, of course, spend on like James Robinson from 2020, Elijah Mitchell from last year. If there's a special case like that, yeah, do it. But for the most part, I would try to hold the fab money because I'm guilty of spending it too early a lot of times and then end up regretting it come playoff time. Although I wouldn't, it's kind of. I would stay more on the conservative side just in case you need it at the end. A lot of times you don't. So like I said, just if there is a player you really like, spend it early. Don't be scared to spend it early, but also don't feel obligated to spend it early. I feel like so and so's off to a hot start, I gotta get him. Well, no, don't overpay. If you miss out, well, then you have that money for later in case you need something come playoff time, because then at that point it's the end. You can just empty the tank if you got $70 left. It doesn't matter at that point. It's the last week before the playoffs. Just spend 70 on whatever you need. It could be the freaking streamer defense for all. I mean, he just make sure your opponent doesn't get them. So I would say wait unless it's somebody you're really high on early.
Yeah, I think it's all situational and depends on your team needs. Those league-winning players are usually picked up in the first couple of weeks, so I'm definitely not afraid to spend early. I prefer to have a little something for the playoff pushes and playoff matchups, but say a stud running back goes down with a nasty-looking injury and his backup comes in, he shreds it week 1, and the backup went undrafted. In that case, I'm spending up. Like that guy could be, a quality RB2 the whole year. If the injury was that nasty and the running back goes down and the guy didn't cuff it, I'm definitely spending up. I'm a little more hesitant with receivers in those first few weeks because we've seen a lot of receivers come out. Sammy Watkins come out and go crazy, and then someone goes
Demarcus Robinson, Nicole Hoffman, those Chiefs guys.
Alan Burns, bring it old school.
Yeah. Definitely more hesitant on the wide receivers and the running backs. I think if you're going to use your fab and spend up early, it's going to be on a back.
Right. Yeah, that's a great point. Yeah, if you're going to spend early, but yeah, Cordarrelle Patterson was one from last year. So it's like, yeah, if you're going to, the running back position is probably the position you'd want to spend up on, or the receivers are just, those receivers on the waiver wire tend to be very volatile, where you can a lot of times just stream. If you have an issue at that spot, you can just stream it.
It's definitely more fluky, I think, with the receivers.
Yeah, the running backs. So the running backs, it's like a clear cut. So and so has the workload usually, or it's usually just two. Or the receivers, it's sometimes like unless you're like one of the alpha receivers like Devontae or Jefferson or Kupp. Like if you're outside of that, a lot of times it's kind of volatile as far as there's so many receiving options on these teams. So it's like there's just way more options. It just makes it more volatile on a weekly basis as far as who's going to produce and who won't.
For sure. Every year is different. Every league is different. So you got to trust your gut, know your league, use your best judgment, and best of luck. That's the advice I could give you there, Jess. Good luck. All right, let's keep it rolling.
We do. I was going to say to counter that, I would say you got to make sure you're on top of it to where you can maximize the luck. Obviously, it's always going to be some aspect of luck. Make sure you're keeping up with the news and the waiver wire to make sure you can try to have as much of an edge as possible.
Of course. Speaking of an edge, it's not really my cup of tea, but should I change my strategy at all in an 8-team draft instead of a 12? Perry from Florida writes. And all I have to say is yuck. Nothing personal. 8-team leagues. But I do have some advice for you because I'm not going to leave you hanging, Perry. Those late picks, they matter way more. It's less dart throws there and more startable talent. If you're the commish by any chance, I would suggest adding extra roster spots to thin out the waiver wire a bit. Maybe like a 3 wide receiver, 2 flex. because every team's going to be stacked in an 8-team league. So it's kind of like playing DFS in a way where you really need to work hard on maximizing those matchups. You know what I'm saying? Your opponent's team is going to be just as good as yours. And like, as far as positional advantage, the disparity between tight ends will matter a lot more in smaller leagues. So in a smaller league, I'd probably go for the Kelsey Andrews Pitts guy and have that advantage every week. I think that means way more in an 8-team league than a 12-team league, in my personal opinion.
Yeah, the only thing I would change would be, don't be afraid to reach a little bit for quarterback and tight end, as opposed to 12-team leagues. It's in the weight, where in the 8-man leagues, I still play in one with Joey, who was in the chat earlier. We keep one going. That goes back to our days in high school. So it's like, it's just for those, it's a little different. I don't really change too much of my approach. I still generally go running backs, receivers early. But yeah, like you said, Saunch, there is sometimes where there's a really elite quarterback sitting there. Don't be scared to pull the trigger early, because that positional advantage can be big, because the waiver wire is you'll be searching the waiver wire, but it's like if you have that advantage, it'll mean more in an 8-man league, because in the 12-man league, it's like everyone's kind of in the similar spot to where no one's gonna really be worried about the waiver wire as much. But in the 8-man league, it's like you drive yourself crazy playing the waiver wire, because there's so many options each week. So try to avoid that and have all your starters be like locked in starters, where you don't have that headache on a weekly basis.
I agree, and I'd still be in on running backs early, because the gap between the top running backs and receivers are huge, in my opinion. A scarce position, and no matter what the league size is, especially when you start 2 backs. So I'm in on the running backs early. I agree with the positional advantage at quarterback and tight end if the price is right. But, if you don't get one of the stud quarterbacks, wait it out, because it's 8 teams and there's going to be
that's true. That's true. Yeah.
There's going to be a reliable starter for you, So if you don't go with if you don't get the Josh Allen, you disagree?
I think there's a top 6 that I really want, and then after that, I don't want to deal with that. So
that's fair.
That's just for roster conservation too. I just keep those guys plug and play. I think there's a clear-cut top 6 this year from Allen.
Most do. Yeah, Allen, Herbert, Mahomes, Lamar Jackson.
18 weeks. For me, I say pull the trigger on tight end early and QB early, because you want that positional advantage. You'll be able to fill in, particularly your wide receivers. You'll be able to fill them in on the back end or off the waivers. So I like to pull the trigger on the tight end early, the QB early, and the running backs early here. And these, especially with the waivers being deep. If you're commish, I recommend adding more starting positions just to make it a little bit more tactical, instead of having these like super just stacked up rosters. Maybe even consider super flex, but that's a whole nother conversation. But definitely consider making it a little different than your average league, because
I think an 8-man super flex would be pretty fun, because like then at that point the quarterback pool would be pretty scarce, but not as bad as in these like 12-man leagues or these one last night. Shout out to Bogart and Hustler. We called the Degenerate Savages of Smoky Bogey Invitational 14-team super flex. You talk about brutal there.
That's brutal.
I somehow came out of that with Mahomes and Allen and Dak. Dak fell all the way to me. I guess people are tripping. Yeah, people are tripping about Tyrone Smith, but I was like, man, Tyrone Smith ain't that important. Dak's still gonna go off most weeks. So I was like, I was very stoked with that duo.
Yeah, that's awesome. 14 teams. People are starting Jared Goff and Danny Dimes probably.
Yeah. And I got freaking maybe 2 top 5, at least top 10. Allen's for sure top 5, and then I keep saying Mahomes. Dak is at least top 10. So I mean, I was really stoked about that. I went with a 0 RB approach, because I ended up getting Kelsey with my next pick. I almost went Kamara, but there's still the potential suspension. It scared me off, so I went Kelsey instead, just getting that safe money in the bank there. So it's like, we'll see how it goes. The running backs, I'm probably going to be fighting an uphill battle with that all year, but I feel like I'll have a nice positional advantage with quarterback and tight end.
Yeah, my first couple of picks, I want safety. If a guy gets suspended, I'm fading. If there's a chance he could be suspended for 6 games, I'm probably fading.
No,
Kamara
6
falls
or
to
more.
the
6 or more.
Yeah, because the thing is,
know.
like, I mean, odds are he probably won't, but it's just the only thing is, though, the video surveillance. You never know when that might get released. And if the surveillance is really ugly to where it visibly shows him beating the crap out of the dude, like, the league might put him on that commissioner's exempt list.
For sure.
Like they did with Adrian Peterson that time, where it's just like, and then you're stuck. Or Deshaun Watson, I don't know if he was on the example, but it was just the pending stuff was so bad where the team just benched him. It's like, you never know, man. I just couldn't swing it, man. I had to go with the safe money.
That's fair. And yeah, safety is everything in those first 3 rounds. If I'm shooting for the upside, it's later on. But I want my first couple rounds to be as safe as they come. I'm shooting for the floor. I mean, depends on the player because, a lot of those early players have a crazy ceiling, but I like floor plays early. Safety is key. And before we get into another mailbag question, any guys that you are really rising on heavy as we get closer to the drafts that, not named Dameon Pierce? Anyone else that like you're just like shooting up your draft boards and your rankings and you're really trying to snag?
Oh yeah, there's a few. You want to go ahead, George? Or you?
I kind of put you on the spot with this one, so take a minute if you need it.
For me, I'm going to start with the deep sleeper first. For me, Josh Palmer. I love this kid. There's so much meat on the bone over there, and for the Chargers in Los Angeles. If either Keenan Allen or Mike Williams goes down to the moon for this kid, 3rd round pick, looked good when he got the opportunity last year. You can get him for almost free in a lot of leagues. It's beautiful. I think he's great value there. You guys want to give one at?
Yeah, I'll go with shoot. It's tough. I mean, there's so many trendy rookie running backs right now, but I'm gonna go ahead and I'm gonna go with more of a floor play that you can get late. That I've noticed he's been going up my board because I feel like he's gonna be pretty productive, and that's one of my Saints, Jarvis Landry. I feel like Jarvis is somebody that you can get him dirt cheap, and I think he's going to be very productive. And if Michael Thomas's injury issues continue, then you've got yourself a potential WR2 on your hands. Like, I feel like if Michael Thomas in there, Jarvis is going to get peppered with targets. So it's just going to be like, he'll be a must start at that point. I mean, I hope Mike's okay and can go week 1, but I mean, we don't know at this point to where I would feel the fact that you can get Jarvis late in those double digits, I'm taking him there all the time because it's just like, and he's some. I mean, I guess I didn't really answer the question, but it's just hard to say. I'll go with Pacheco if I had to pick one though. That's like skyrocketing up a board because it's just like, and I can see it because I mean CEH is super brittle, so I think if something would happen to CEH and boom, Pacheco's in the lead role, and yeah, he'd be my. Jarvis be my late value. Like he's not really rising, but he's just such a value. But we have Pacheco for sure as my.
Yeah, we're from
riser.
Jersey, so that's the Rutgers kid. We're all rooting for him.
Yeah, nice underdog story, 7th round pick. So yeah, I hope he does well.
Where'd he go in our draft last night, George?
I took him round 9 too early, but it is a keeper league, so if he does keep the job,
yeah, we throw ADP out the window for that league. It's a bloodbath. All right, he's gonna grab his charger.
Yeah.
Oh, he's gonna miss my pick. He's an Eagles fan.
Philly.
He's still here. Who you got?
My pick's Kenneth Gainwell, man. I think he's
okay.
I mean, he's not going to be like a RB1 game changer, but Sanders doesn't have a great track record. One injury away from Kenneth Gainwell being like a very safe RB2 in PPR, in my opinion. I just think he's like so cheap. Like he's a young running back.
I might take Gainwell right now. I'm in the 13th round of this league. I might take him.
if you didn't go running backs early, he's one of the guys I strongly recommend to take.
Yeah, I needed RB4 because I just picked Ken Walker, but I mean, I'm going to stash him on the IR. So, I might take Gainwell's depth.
For Gainwell, like, even if he doesn't work out, like I think he will, he's so cheap where you can cut bait and not feel horrible about it.
Facts.
like I hate the Eagles, but George is an Eagles fan. But I will agree that offense is going to be
Hey,
really
there's a
nice
lot of
this
value
year.
to be had there.
Really nice this year, that offense, and I just don't believe in Miles Sanders. I saw the coaches in a press conference wearing a Kenny Gainwell shirt. Okay,
That's all you need
and
to
that's all I really needed to see. They believe in the
Yeah.
guy. He's young. I saw a lot of good things last year from Kenny Gainwell, and I don't think they're gonna hold him back. I think he's only gonna keep going stronger. We got Albert. Guru's
Yo,
a
Albert.
celebrity, man. He's a celebrity. So we
I
got Pacheco, Kenneth Gainwell, and Palmer. Anyone else you want to add, George?
these are must-have guys that we have to leave drafts with, right? Just confirming the question.
Or just guys that like shot up your draft boards and like rose for you. Like
For me, I have to mention these guys. Like they started round 6, moved up to 5. Now I see them in 4 and 3. But the trio of the following 3 guys: Mike Williams, Courtland Sutton, and Jerry Jeudy. I feel like I want to leave any draft with at least one of them. The opportunities are great. And again, I mentioned Palmer before. Back to Mike Williams, Chargers, love them. They're gonna have a monster year. It might be the number 1 offense in the league in my eyes. Obviously,
I love all those picks. You know, I'm on the Jeudy train. Albert's saying McKenzie, which I like a lot, but I'm all in on Gabe Davis. I hope he's not that good. I'm on the Gabe Davis train, Albert, but McKenzie's really late.
Yeah, McKenzie's a nice depth piece. You know, I think it'll mainly be Diggs and Davis, but I think McKenzie will get a lot of those greasy reception. You know, kind of like the Cole Beasley role.
I mean, he's going to be the slot guy. He's going to be a slot guy in an offense that could break records this year. I think Josh Allen could. I think that offense is going to be lethal, just like everyone else. And you know, I'm not mad at taking Josh Allen early. I'm usually against the QB early, but I have that feeling Buffalo, pending injury, we don't want to see that. They're going to come out swinging, and they're going to be elite for fantasy. And I'm with the Chargers, too. They're my second offense I want a piece of. But Denver's 3.
Yeah.
How about Russell Wilson? Everyone's like Sutton, Jeudy, but Wilson's still going pretty damn cheap for a quarterback. For a guy could finish top 5. He leaves Seattle to the best team he might have ever had, besides when the Legion of Boom was there. Like, that was a long time ago. He has, Javonte, Melvin Gordon. They got Sutton and Jeudy. I know you guys all like Sutton, but I'm team Jeudy. But I'm not mad. I'm happy with either one of them. I want a piece of Denver. You guys agree?
Yeah, I'm more Jeudy than Sutton.
There you go, Spencer. Jeudy season.
Yeah, I'm not really. I'm honestly off of Sutton at his ADP because I know it was a bad quarterback situation, but last year. But man, Courtland Sutton stunk down the stretch last year. I mean, absolutely stunk, and I feel like people are forgetting about that. And I don't, because I had him last year in some leagues. I remember I was like, this guy's garbage. Like, what the hell?
That's when Jeudy came back. That's when he went downhill. So
that's what I'm saying. I am not messing with Courtland Sutton. I'm not saying he's a total bust, but at his value, his ADP right now, I think he will bust. I don't want any part of it.
He didn't have Russell Wilson, though. We'll give him that.
Yeah. Oh, he'll be better for sure. I'm not saying he's total trash, but I feel like at their prices, Judy's a much better bet.
I have to make one comment about McKenzie from Albert. Like I said before, huge dynasty guy, 20-plus leagues. Go acquire him. He's free in a lot of leagues. He's sitting on the waiver wires. For all you know, you can have the next Cole Beasley, who sat there and supplied countless years of fantasy production, especially for your flex, the deeper dynasty leagues. So go get him. He's free. He's great stats.
Definitely worth a shot.
Yeah, and if he doesn't pan out, then who cares? He was free, so it doesn't cost a lot. Great, like sleeper guy to have in a deeper league.
Those are the guys you're trying to draft. The guys that won't cost you anything but could give you everything. And you won't feel bad if you have to cut bait because, they're cheap or free. So that's why I like safety early on and shooting for the stars later. I think we're all on the same board with that one.
Right, because then you can swing for the fences more later.
Always swing for the fences late. You don't want to grab safe picks late. You don't want to take, maybe Mark Ingram. Kamara will get
Oh,
suspended, so
oh,
I'll
yeah.
snag Mark Ingram.
No,
You get Marlon Mack on the Texans
Let me-
starting running back, right? Yeah.
Let me grab Mike Davis. Mike
yeah,
Davis.
Rashad Penny. Yeah.
You can have him. You can have Mike Davis.
All yours.
I'll take a young rookie with a crazy ceiling that could go crazy, and if he doesn't, as I said, cheaper.
Cut
free.
bait. Yeah, and then there's somebody that'll emerge.
We have one more mailbag question. It's a very important one.
Yes.
Trey Lance, good
Ooh.
news or bad news for Deebo Samuel? From Eduardo in New York. George, you love Lance. You drafted him in our Dynasty League. I'll let you go first.
All right. I think I don't love Lance. I actually really don't like the fact that he barely played in college a year last year. Kind of. With that said, he was drafted for more than just his legs. His arm talent is there. Jimmy G is just a guy. I mean, he's a starter in the NFL, but he's a back-end starter. Someone that's never really he doesn't bring your team there, although he brought him to Super Bowls, so I
He
don't
had
know.
some stacked
But-
defenses, but
Yeah.
he's like, game manager, run the ball kind of quarterback.
Yep. But with that
Nothing
said,
special.
with Trey Lance, I think the offense moves better. And but B, they played 2 games together last year. I wrote down the stats for this. Week 5, 9 targets for Deebo. Check mark. Only 3 catches. Okay, a little erratic. 58 yards. Had a rush, 13 yards, touchdown. That's a startable week. Week 17, his other game, 6 targets. That's an okay floor. Only 3 catches again. Would like to see more. But he had a touchdown, 7 rushes, 19 yards. So he's already produced with Lance back there. And with his new contract, he has, I was just looking at the details, he has rushing incentives where he gets $650K if he
Saw
hits
that.
380 rushing yards, or he only gets $150K if he only gets 3 rushing touchdowns, but doesn't hit the yardage. So to me, all that says is more fantasy points for Deebo. So I think Deebo's safe in all ways.
It's
I'm high on
crazy.
Deebo. I've always loved Deebo.
Didn't he say
What was
he
that?
didn't want to be used? He said he didn't want to be used as like a running back like that anymore. It's crazy how money changes things, huh?
Yeah,
Yeah.
he was just a negotiating ploy. He just said that so they worked in that incentive. It was just a negotiating tactic.
So
Right.
Deebo finished as the wide receiver 3 last year with 121 targets. All right.
Yeah.
There was 20 wide receivers had more targets at the wide receiver position, and you're drafting this guy in the late second. Those 365 rushing yards and obviously 8 rushing touchdowns certainly slid him into that spot. I personally believe there's going to be less rushing opportunity for Deebo, but he's still a stud, and Trey Lance is not scaring me away from taking him. If anything, those targets should go way up this year as far as receiving work. It's hard for me to think he's going to get all that rushing work like last year because, the San Fran backfield was it was dead. They had nobody left. So I don't think he's going to get the same amount of work in the backfield, but, you keep those incentives in the back of your head. He's definitely going to get carries. Just, will he score 8 rushing touchdowns this year? Gun to my head, I'm betting no, man. But now, they have a rushing quarterback behind center now. So I think that helps Deebo as far as his receiving work, and I think those targets are going to shoot up. But I'm not expecting those rushing numbers again, man. At the end of the day, I'm taking Lance over Jimmy G 10 out of 10 times. And even if the rushing numbers aren't the same and his points dip a bit, Deebo Samuel's a dog, man, and you should not be hesitant to snag him in your drafts this year. The targets should go way up again, and you should be stoked to have such an electric player on your fantasy team. Even if you get him early 3rd round, you jump for joy.
1,400 yards, 6 touchdowns in receiving, man. He's just a receiver. That's good.
He's damn good. We all know this. It's just we're worried, Garoppolo is gone. It's going to be a new look offense, but, they paid him for a reason. They know what they have.
I was gonna chime in here and say it's I'll have to kind of rain on the Devo parade. I think it's bad news because I think with Lance is probably going to spread the ball a little more to Ayuk and Kittle's still 8. Probably more Ayuk. I think Ayuk's going to see his numbers go up than where Deebo. I think Debo and Ayuk will be more of like a 1A, 1B as opposed to Debo is the clear A and Ayuk is the clear B. So with that, I don't really like it. I wish, if for Debo's sake, I wish nothing would have changed. I wish Jimmy was still the QB because look what Debo did last year with Jimmy. Overall, WR3. I mean, I think he's still a WR1, but I definitely don't see him repeating last season. And as a result, I can't be as high on him. I just feel like I don't want to say the sky's falling. When I say bad news, I'm not saying to completely fade this guy, but I am saying don't draft him expecting a repeat of last season.
It's a good take, and I definitely see where you're coming from. And I think he's a damn good player, but I agree. I don't think it's going to be like it was last year. With that being
That's
said,
reflected in his ADP, though.
Let's play a little
Yeah,
game.
that's true. Yeah, a lot of times it's weird. Debo's weird. Sometimes he'll go later, like in the late second, and other times he'll go in the first, like late first. And it's like, oh, I don't like that. You're just paying for last year's production at that point.
Let's play a little game here. Who would you rather have? Debo Samuel or CeeDee Lamb?
CeeDee Lamb.
I got CeeDee Lamb too, George.
Man, it's tough. CeeDee Lamb's been a wide receiver too the last 2 years, so we're kind of projecting him into. But
Cooper's gone now.
Yeah, I'm gonna go with CeeDee, but I think it's gonna be closer than a lot of people.
Okay, how about Debo Samuel or Tyreek Hill?
Well, Lamb scares me because if he's that's
Debo
Debo for me, and it's not close.
Over Ty Hill. My bad, George. You can go on. What were you gonna say?
I'm Debo over Hill. Yeah.
I've been gaining steam. I've been gaining steam on Ty Hill, but I'm probably gonna take Debo. Debo, AJ Brown. I'll probably take Debo. You guys, Eagles fan.
Bad spot.
Yeah, it's tough. Yeah, I think I would too. I love AJ Brown. I got a hot take for y'all. AJ Brown over Tyreek Hill.
That's fair. They're pretty close in ADP.
Yeah, that's true. It's a take. That's my take. A hot take would be AJ Brown over fucking Diggs would be a hot take. No. That's the thing. I feel like the problem, like you said earlier, Saul, don't get too crazy with the early rounds. Don't overthink the early rounds.
Safety. Get your safety.
Exactly. Although I do have a hot take. This is a hot take after seeing all these drafts. And I did it last night in the Ball Guys Charity League. I went Najee Harris over Christian McCaffrey.
Wow.
I'm not mad at that at all, man. I've had McCaffrey last year. It was an emotional wreck for me.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
I don't know if I want to do that again.
I couldn't do it, man. I was like, fuck that, man. I'm not doing that. I'm going with the safety there with Najee. I guess a safe, secure first rounder because I was wanting Jefferson, and then Jefferson went right before me. So I was like, you know what? Give me Najee. And CMC slipped in that one.
I'm not mad at you. We all know CMC could be the number one fantasy guy, but how much faith do we have in his body not breaking down? We've seen it too many times now.
Yeah.
Last one. Last one. Debo, Mike Evans. We're all on Debo over Evans.
Oh, yeah, for sure. Yeah, especially now that they brought in Julio. There's so many mouths to feed. That Debo easily.
So out of all those guys we mentioned,
really cooled down the Evans hype. For me especially.
Yeah.
Evans was like rising up my draft board.
And then Godwin's probably going to be back. So, yeah, Evans, he's falling.
I feel like Mike Evans has a hammy injury every week. Everyone gets worried about it. And he just goes out and balls out like nothing's bothering him. So, I'm definitely not scared of Mike Evans. Out of all the guys we mentioned, CeeDee Lamb, Ty Hill, AJ Brown, and Mike Evans, the only player we'd want over Debo is CeeDee Lamb. Other than those other studs, we're taking Debo Samuel. George is still questioning about AJ Brown.
Yeah, I don't know, man. I see a world where CD is a wide receiver too again, and that's just what he is. I don't know.
It's hard for me to see that with all those targets leaving.
Exactly. Yeah.
Sure.
But I definitely get where you're coming from. We're about 50 minutes in. Those are all our mailbag questions. So a reminder, you can, write a comment if you have a draft this weekend or next weekend. We got about 10 minutes left. So how about some hot takes? Spencer, you had some hot. You said you had a hot take. Let's get spicy. Let's say something crazy. Let everyone judge us, and if it pans out, it's on record.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, I'm trying to think which one I want to start with. As far as I got some takes for sure. As far as players, I think I could do a lot better than their consensus. I'll start off by saying AJ Dillon is going to finish as an RB1. I'm really high on Dillon this year. I'm not worried about Aaron Jones. Hell, I think they both could be RB1s. They could be like Ingram Kamara from 2017, a Thunder and Lightning thing. I think Green Bay is going to be a run-first offense. Rodgers is getting older. I don't see him being the MVP like he was the past couple years, especially with no more Devontae Adams. So I feel like they're going to pound the rock, and Dillon's going to score well over 10 touchdowns, over 1,000 on the ground. I think he's the real deal, and I think he's going to prove that he's a strong. I'll look as we're hot taking if he's the next Derrick Henry. He's a big one. Next Derrick Henry. He's going to show himself. So, yeah, I'm all in with Dillon. Hope I don't jinx him. Dillon RB1 this year. Let's fucking go.
I love it. I agree that's going to be a run team.
This will be a volatile guy. It's but Miles Sanders. I know everyone hates him. If you build a zero RB team, this guy's tied to the league's leading rushing attempts. He's done well per carry. His touchdowns have to go up. I mean, it's everything you want out of a guy, but because you remember it's Miles Sanders, you're fading him. But he's got a real opportunity here. If he goes zero RB early, I think he's a guy that could really help your RB committee start for you. I see a world where he finishes as an RB1. He showed that flash as a rookie, and now the Eagles are locked and loaded this year. We've got the number 1 rated O-line. I think it's going to be a good year for us. And obviously the running back usually feasts when that happens, when you're a top offense.
So that's why we call them hot takes. I see Spencer's, I don't see yours, but they're your thoughts and your opinions, and they mean something. So I'm off the Miles Sanders train. I told you how much I love Kenneth Gainwell, but you never know. I'm gonna get really spicy here, and I'm gonna say Juju. Juju's gonna be a top 5 wide receiver, not top 12. Top 5.
Damn, he's really playing this flag.
We said hot takes. You got one from me. Ty Hill's gone. Kelsey's still there to get a lot of attention. Mahomes, if you watch him in preseason, he hasn't lost a step. The guy's so elite. And we've seen Juju produce. We've seen him have really good years. He's never had a quarterback like Pat Mahomes, man. I think that knee is scaring people, but he's sliding under the radar. He probably burnt people in the past. People who drafted him don't want to take Juju again, but he's a Chief now. He's not a Steeler now. He's on a 1-year prove-it deal. You know he's going to want to ball out. You know when all the attention goes to Kelsey, Juju's going to be there, and I can see a top 5 finish. It's a hot take for a reason. Don't at me on Twitter, call me crazy, but if we want to get spicy,
we're archiving this.
I'll add to it. Juju's a top 5, and Jerry Judy's a top 12. 2 receiver ones right there. I'm calling my shots on my guys. I love both their situations. I love both their talents. I think Judy's more elite.
I can see the Judy one. I Juju top 5 to me is a little too rich, but the Judy top 12, that one I'm down with that.
It's spicy, but it's a hot take for a reason, and I'm calling my shot. Don't forget who you heard.
But hey, where you're taking them is where was Cup going last year? Around 4th.
You're getting them way afterward. Cup. I saw Cup going in the 3rd, early 4th last year, and I'm getting Juju in like the 6th round.
Yeah. Chase was the 6th round pick last year.
Right.
Yeah. So I mean, you never know. These guys arrive.
That QB change.
That's what I'm saying. Yeah, there's so many moving parts every year. Like, I mean, everything's kind of fluid. That's why I'm so high on Dillon, because I feel like things are shifting in that direction. Another one I'm really high on is Travis Etienne in PPR leagues. Like, I think Etienne could I'll go out. I'll say in PPR top 5, Travis Etienne. I think he's gonna really
That's
pop
hot.
this year.
There you go. There you go.
That's what we're bringing the heat today. So yeah, I'll bring some more heat for y'all.
Call your shots. Why not? It's draft weekend. One of the biggest draft weekends of the year. And going back to Cooper Kupp, he got Matt Stafford, a new quarterback. Look what he did. And now Juju's getting Mahomes. Judy's getting Russell Wilson. Just something to think about when you're drafting. Always look at the quarterback changes.
This offseason was pretty wild with the movement. QBs moving, wide receivers moving. This offseason was nuts.
I hope that ETN hot take pans out.
Yeah, we all
Duval. Yeah. Me too, man.
Hey, man, I see Lawrence. Hot take there. I see Lawrence hopping into the top 12.
Yeah, I could see that. I could see that. Yeah. Christian Kirk's a pretty good value in the mid to late rounds. So yeah, I could see Lawrence taking that step up for sure.
Zay Jones looked good with Derek Carr, so I think there's some meat left there.
Yeah. The most important thing with Lawrence, the weapons. The weapons are all right. They're nothing special, but it's the coaching staff. Way better coaching staff. Going from Urban Meyer to Doug Peterson. Doug Peterson was the mastermind behind Carson Wentz's MVP. What would have been an MVP season before he tore his ACL. So Lawrence is definitely more talented than Wentz. So no telling what Lawrence might do in that system.
That was Lawrence a heart-wrenching moment as an Eagles fan.
He's the biggest prospect.
Yeah, they don't. Sorry for bringing up those bad. Although y'all won the Super Bowl that year, so that really didn't even hurt y'all.
It worked out.
Yeah, it worked out. Yeah, that's actually it was probably a blessing in disguise because Wentz probably would have choked. And say y'all had Foles, who was clutch as it was so clutch. Like wow.
Trevor Lawrence is the hottest prospect coming out of college since Andrew Luck. He had one horrible year under Urban Meyer on another dumpster fire team. And everyone's leaving him for dead. I don't think Peterson's anything special, but compared to Urban Meyer, he's a pile of gold, man. He's a pile of gold. And I'm in on Lawrence too, late. I own him in Dynasty. I own ETN in Dynasty. I'm in on the Jags bouncing back. I'm not saying they're going to be a playoff team anytime soon, but I think for fantasy purposes, the numbers are going to go way up than over last year. Even Christian Kirk, ETN. I won't say Evan Ingram because that guy sucks, but you never know. I'm personally out. You guys can take
former Giant. Yeah. Yeah, he'll be pretty good when he's healthy, but Dan Arnold could be sneaky late, like somebody, because Peterson's offenses love the tight end, it Ertz and Goddard. So maybe I'm not saying to draft Dan Arnold, but it's just somebody to monitor if Ingram would get hurt.
That's how I feel about Ingram. Monitor him.
Know every squad.
But if you go
know every squad, know every player, make a watch list, keep your eyes open, stay sharp, don't slack off. You're going to do fine.
Yeah, 16th round, just got Kenny Gainwell in this draft. Finally done with that thing. That thing took forever.
That was your last round pick?
Yeah, finally. 3 hours beautiful. For a 10-man league. They were really slacking, man. I was very disappointed. I was upset. I thought for sure it'd be done. But we literally, we were almost on for an hour and the thing was still going. But it's over now. Sorry to go off track there. It's done.
It is what it is. We're about to call it here. Boys. We're getting close. It's the most wonderful time of the year.
Yes, sir. Almost Christmas.
It feels like it. We're wrapping up the gifts now. We're almost ready to
September 11th. That's the Sunday. And the Thursday night, it's kind of like Christmas Eve.
That Thursday night game is so good.
Yeah, was it Bills Rams? Yeah, that's gonna slap, man.
And then Sunday night you get Cowboys Bucks rematch. They're killing it.
Yeah, that was a nice Thursday game last year. Yeah. The NFL, they know how to they put the best games at the right time. They know how to maximize the viewership.
Absolutely.
So George is not necessarily a content creator, but maybe this is your foot in the door towards doing so. We all know you're very serious about this and passionate about this, and I appreciate you hopping on to shoot the shit and talk some fantasy. Spencer, a legend in the game. He does create content. Maybe I'll give you a minute to let the people know where to find you.
Appreciate it, bro. Yeah, y'all can find me at Spencer the Guru on all social media platforms, as well as bet.nola.com for all my latest live streams and articles. Have a round by round draft guide on there for those of y'all that wondering how to approach each round, and also for those just wanting positional rankings like a cheat sheet. They got that up on Instagram. Just updated it last night to get y'all right for this weekend, because I know the majority of y'all have drafts this weekend. So we got some fresh rankings up on the gram at Spencer the Guru. So yeah, y'all go check that stuff out.
Awesome.
It's great content, man. I'm glad we got closer, started a few leagues together. Glad to have you
For
on
sure,
a couple
man.
of times. I'm sure you'll be on a couple of times. I'm sure once Greg watches how George conducted himself today, we'll have him back on too. Anyone who's passionate about this and is about this life, there's a spot for you here to either come on the show or comment. We'll help you out. This is Fantasy Fan Line. We're easy going, but we know what we're talking about. We're excited for this, and until next time, boys, it was a pleasure.
Most definitely.
For George Cruz, Spencer the Guru, Greg Scalera on the beach, I am Sanchi Value. This has been Fantasy Fan Line, and we are calling it a day. Peace.
Peace.